Hey everyone, thanks for joining us for this webinar, Frictionless Fit, Optimizing Fit User Experience for Conversion. I'm Linda Bustos. I'm the founder of Ecom Ideas, which is a website, database, and LinkedIn page dedicated to finding what's new and trending in user experience and e-commerce features and functionality. That's how I got in talks with Bold Metrics, because they also play in the space of enhancing user experience for apparel merchants. So Jeff, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks, Linda. Great to be here. I'm Jeff Murgy. I head up growth and strategy at Bold Metrics, which is a leading AI body data platform rooted in the fit and sizing space, helping customers, find their size easier online by providing experiences that we're going to talk about today, and then helping our clients, apparel brands and retailers, reduce fit-related returns and boost their online sales. So excited to kind of dive in and talk about all the stuff we do and some of the stuff you're researching, Linda. Thanks.
Great. So I had the opportunity to sit down with the Bold Metrics user experience team. So we're going to first start off with some of the findings of their Smart Sizer user test with real live users, which were conducted over a period of more than 6 months and over 100 live user testers and different geographies. And those learnings went into the experience that you see in the smart sizing platform out of the box. But there's also a component of it that you as the merchant control, which is your product detail page template. And we found some really interesting insights on how to optimize your call to action on the PDP as well, which we'll show you. And although smart sizing is the more future forward size solution for e-commerce, size charts are long-standing, table stakes, and they're not going away. So I'm going to share some of the cool stuff that I've seen merchants doing that you might want to borrow for your own size charts to eliminate friction and give them a little bit of a value add. And then we're going to get into some real world use cases for the Bold Metrics API. We're going to show you some demos of merchants that have built custom solutions for their various, unique business use cases. And we're also going to share a few ideas that haven't even been built yet of how you can use the API to take smart sizing to the next level. And then Jeff's going to bring us home with the power of body data beyond the button. So there's a lot we can do on the website, but body data can enhance a lot more in your business, all the way back to product development and merchandising. So we'll cover that as well. All right, so let's get into the user test. So first of all, this is the first screen of the form, the flow that the smart sizing tool in Bold Metrics does. And if you've ever done UX, user testing, optimization work, you know that any type of form, it's very, very important to keep the form fields and the questions streamlined, because any type of drop off here means no one's going to progress through the rest of the experience. And you might be surprised to know that whether it's a top or a bottom or a dress or a onesie, there's only 4 questions that you need to ask users to be able to get a fit prediction using AI. So Jeff, do you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so we're really focused on adoptability here. So you want consumers to use this, right? So it's just 4 simple questions that you know off the top of your head. You don't have to whip out a measuring tape and measure yourself because we know, one, most people aren't going to do that. Two, if they do it wrong. And three, they'd rather just guess. So we designed this to really just be things you know off the top of your head: age, height, weight, bra size for women, and age, height, weight, pant waist for men. And with that, we're effectively using AI to body scan that consumer. So just those 4 questions, we're getting to those core body measurements that you see in a size chart without the customer having to look at those size charts that no one uses.
And it's interesting because I've seen similar tools like this ask for additional questions like, what's your tummy shape? Is it flat? Is it this? Is it that? Are your shoulders broad? Do you slouch?
Yep.
Those types of questions, what your user testing team shared was that people didn't like seeing those questions, and
Yeah.
they often don't know the answer to that. What do you compare it to?
Yeah. So, I mean, we have a couple clients that do ask those questions, and it is just their personal preference that they feel strongly that that's going to provide their specific shopper more confidence in the solution. in our own testing, when we played around with asking those questions, what we saw is that it does create some doubt because people have this ideal, body figure or shape that they think they are. Are they really that? They don't know. If I select the wrong shape, am I going to get the wrong size? So they kind of go back and forth and they kind of lose confidence in the tool. And that's really why we chose to eliminate those questions out of the core experience that we provide. And again, going back to adaptability and providing confidence. So not having to answer those questions, we see more adoption of the tool and customers feel good about the way they answer the 4 questions that are required because those are simple and they know those. And when you ask those body shapes, you can create some doubt, especially in men. What we saw is like men have no idea what if they're a triangle, rectangle, square, whatever. Women may know that more than men, but still feel like if they answer that wrong, it could provide a bad recommendation.
And the user testers also found that there was a little bit of questions from the participants on age. So why are you asking for age?
Yeah, simple answer is bodies change with age, right? We, again, going back to using AI to really create an AI body scan of a consumer, like we need inputs that are gonna give us an idea of that body at that point in time. And age is one of those factors that off the top of your head, and bodies change with age. So again, pairing that question with how much someone weighs and then a torso type measurement like bra for women or pant waist for men or pant size for men along with age, like that's going to help us get a good idea of that shopper.
That brings up another area where you can run quantitative A/B tests through any of the commercial tools out there, but you're not going to get that verbal, qualitative insights from actually sitting down with users. So what's really interesting is they did observe that there was questions and pushback on the age. So developing tooltips, user testing is a great opportunity to just validate the clarity of the copy that you use in your tooltips. It's really important that people understand and that it actually gives them the confidence to keep moving forward in the form. There's also a how it works. If you notice down here in this little area, to click to give even more information. And what's really important here is that they didn't use a big wall of text, which is impossible to read on mobile. It's very optimized for scanning. It answers the questions quickly. And the user testers also really analyze every single word, every single pixel in these flows to make sure that it was easy to understand and instilled that confidence in the users. The other parts of form optimization is actually how you take the inputs. So the UX team tried different, like drop downs. You can use a drop down for height, weight, and age, etc. But really the ideal and what you'll see in the product today is the mobile optimized keyboard that's using the correct numeric keypad. Occasionally merchants will pull up the horizontal, the numeric keypad from the regular thing. You always want to be using that large keypad. But the exception is for this component that you see here with the bra and the cup size here. So just to see a zoomed out version, this component was the optimal one for this particular question so that it doesn't run off in a vertical drop down and it can accommodate, there's different types of international scales for bra sizing. So this component really helped that and was superior to the actual input your own numbers there. But it's interesting because that design component is also reused sometimes. So you see the Sims waders here. The garment actually includes foot. So foot size is actually part of the sizing. So they were able to reuse this little component in their customized form here and have it completely fit inside that widget space. All right, so we didn't touch on the kids form yet. Jeff, do you want to explain what questions you need for kids?
Yeah, so kids is newer for bold metrics. Same kind of back end approach, calculating body measurements, but instead of asking, obviously we can't ask pant waist for kids or bra size for kids. We ask for age, height, weight, and then the shoe size, and we're still calculating that waist circumference, chest circumference of the child, and then mapping that to that brand sizing. So again, super easy. You're not gonna feel safe, taking a photo to scan your kid to find their size, like real simple questions a parent can answer on their child to get the best size for them.
And what's interesting too is that with kids form, like you definitely don't want to be asking for too much body data, but you also don't want to be showing body visualizations. So in this flow, I'll show you the adult flow for a second so you can see the visualizer and the avatar that's been designed for adults. So this takes a 1, 2, 3, and then you get your size up and down. With the kids, it's going to surface that immediately. So what's really interesting is your AI calculations really only take 500 milliseconds or even less than that. So you can show something instantly for adults. But what the user testing found was that there was that 3-second sweet spot. Actually, people had more confidence in seeing the size recommendations because it indicated to them that something was happening in the background. So the user testers ran it with various durations of this body visualizer, also against instant results, and that 3 seconds outperformed. So that's kind of interesting. If you're in web optimization, we're always told that, everything has to be fast, 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 or people will drop off. Not always. And then let's go through this again and just show you a men's form here, because we're going to get some really interesting fit detail in this one. So you can see here, we've got a few more measurement points. And there's keywords here like slightly snug, very snug, just right, slightly loose, slightly relaxed. The user
Hmm.
testers had to run all of these keywords with the users to make sure that they were clear, they were understood, there was no ambiguity there. Anything to add, Jeff?
Yeah, this customer obviously wanted to show sleeve length and neck. It's a business shirt. So the best size is always displayed in the middle, but we show those fit descriptions because many people are between sizes and might not be to their personal preference to have something be a little bit snug in the waist. So they might size up to that 16 size instead of a 32, 33. So that's really showing this to allow for fit preference instead of just saying this is your size is important to our approach and why we can provide that confidence and reduce returns by taking into account preference.
And the user testers also needed to determine with, unprompting, is someone going to intuitively know that they can tab back and forth to see those visualizations? So here we can see at a glance, you can always see the size below and above the recommended size, but they needed to validate that these buttons were clear, that people understood how to use it. So that checked out. And also from an accessibility point of view, people with lower levels of visibility, sometimes color blindness, don't always see colors. So there's a WCAG standard for accessibility of contrast between colors and text and backgrounds. So that was really important going into the design decisions about how to color the various bandings.
Yep.
All right, let's get to the product pages because this is really interesting too. So this is up to you. You'll see a lot of merchants either use a button design or a text link. All we're saying is, do what you want to do for your brand, but if you do want to optimize for click-through and opening of the size, 65% found it with a text link versus 100% when you show it as a button. So that's something to keep in mind when styling your PDP. And the copy is also important. So the user testers tested a bunch of different ways to describe the button. So find my size, find your fit, find your perfect fit, find your perfect size. Longer copy is not going to be as clear. So you're probably not surprised that something shorter wins, but find my size was the best performing here, even over stuff like what's my size. And then also button placement is really important. And there's a couple reasons why the best practice here is to put the Find My Size with the size variant chips or the pull down, whichever version that you use. So one reason, probably obvious, is that it's a point of action assurance. It's where the user is actually making that decision or considering what size. It's just keeping like with like. The second thing is just about how we scan a page. So in the Western world where we read right to left, and on mobile viewports where we kind of go top down, the sweet spot really is in this area here, that left side alignment and in that vertical stack, rather than off to the side. People are going to be able to find it a lot better than if you put it off into another area or below the cart button, which may not even scroll into the viewport above the fold and might be hidden below. Same thing with placing them with the size chart. So an interesting finding was after users had opened up the size finder, a lot of them wanted to go back to a size chart just as a double check, just as a second point of action assurance. So having them side by side increases the discoverability for both. So it's not like two separate journeys. But also, if people are looking for the keyword size chart, they're going to be more likely to discover the Find My Size if they're grouped together. All right, anything else to add there, Jeff, from the testing?
No, I mean, people ask us all the time, should we still have like a size chart link near the Find My Size button? And we always recommend yes, because there is a consumer that does look for that chart and is used to it. We just recommend that you make the Find My Size button stand out more than that.
Absolutely. So now going to the size charts, I don't need to spend too much time explaining that they were never designed for the web, let alone for the mobile web. There's a lot of information to jam into the screen, which creates horizontal and vertical scrolling. Another challenge is that there's no standard convention on how to design a chart. Should you have the measurements row at the top and the reference sizes down the column, or vice versa? You'll see both in practice. And I looked at hundreds and hundreds of size charts prepping for this webinar. So this screen kind of captures a few of the most common issues that I found. Number one, it's super helpful to have an international size conversion if you're selling globally, but a mistake that I saw over and over again was charts that tried to combine them both. And the reason is because you've got this reference column, you've got data that the user needs to match, and it just creates too much distance to travel. There are user tests that have published public findings, and it's really interesting. People, both on desktop and mobile, will take their finger and drag it across to kind of find and locate. So you want to just make that easier to do it without pulling out your finger. This component here, so you see it has the women's dresses. Very few sites will not associate the specified size chart to the product type. Most sites are doing that really well, but occasionally you'll see a site that puts it on the user to kind of, bounce around and find whichever the right size chart is. So this drop-down component here is a better use of space for the international conversion, and just keep the tables clean and allow them to switch it out and keep a clean table with that component. The third part here is the inches and centimeters toggle just for the units conversion. Off and to the right, just like what we saw with the user testing on the PDP for the button, we want to keep controls and things that help the user experience of the chart on the left and in line with everything else. Another thing that sorry, did you have something to say?
No, good.
Okay. So another thing too is just how to format tables. Shading and zebra striping here's another example of zebra striping, is proposed as a way to increase usability. And sometimes people toss it around as like a rule of thumb, like just use zebra striping for a table. But that doesn't really actually work that much in practice. The user testing data says that people will say aesthetically that they prefer this as a user, but it doesn't actually speed up task completion. But what does is an effect like this. So this is a CSS effect that allows you, whether you're mousing or using your finger, to be able to highlight the exact cell. So that just highlights both the reference, size, and numeric letter, or whatever skills you're using there. And that's a nice way to overcome that. I like to call it hover targeting or bullseye targeting. And then here's another example of, a nice layout of where you've got the international conversion and the unit conversion in the right spot aligned with iFlow. Now, this is a little bit of an advanced move, but if you've got a review application that already is doing fit summaries from reviews dynamically, with a little bit of extra programming, you can slot it into a specific product's chart. So that brings that context out of being buried down below with the reviews that someone might not even scroll, or just invisible while the user is in the chart. And then finally, if you do have the fit quiz, absolutely put that link and that call to action into the size chart. It's going to help them, again, make it a one tap to discover your fit finding solution and alternative to the table. And if you remember, going back a couple slides, the button is going to get you a few more clicks, a few more visibility. So I would style it as a button instead of a text link here. But you can also optimize the micro copy that you use around it. I would try and sell the value of the fit finding tool. What problem is it solving? Maybe throw out that it's AI, and it's based on a lot of real user body data. All right, now we're going to get into the API use cases. So Jeff, what's going on here?
Yeah, so this is one of our customers, Mizzen and Main. They use the smart size chart on their PDPs, but they've also built this custom experience around a shirt finding tool, which represents a bulk of their sales, where they get to the size during this experience, and they're serving this up to new customers on their homepage and emails. So a lot of other entry points outside of just the PDP. They'll ask, what colors are you looking for? Do you want certain patterns or just solids? And kind of get to a product listing page now where everything here is in stock in the size based on how you just found the fit through that experience, and you can add directly to cart. And this has been a big booster in revenue for this client. You can easily envision how this could apply to dresses or outerwear jackets or a workout outfit finder. And really just going beyond being that button on the PDP to drive more adoption and value through our platform, using the virtual sizer API. The next customer here, Sunday Red. So they have a really unique feature where they have a size profile in your account that you're able to create if you choose to. And now when you're logged in shopping, doesn't matter what product that you go to, because I'm logged in here, it will automatically show me the recommended size. I can still click and see how that fits. And basically, again, driving more adoption, more entry points to get into the platform. And then because they have that stored in their customer database, they can use that to now target to me things that are going to fit me that they may be trying to sell, or personalize other experiences down the road based on knowing my size when I'm logged in. So a lot you can do when you're storing that information in your customer database, from a personalization standpoint.
So if a user is not logged in and hasn't saved their fit quiz to an account, how many days is it cookied or remembered on a merchant usually?
I think our default is 60, but it's customizable. So again, if I wasn't logged in, I went to the site, that black button where it says size, your recommended size medium would just say find my size, like it does on a typical, customer that's not storing a profile. And then I would answer those questions, still say recommended size medium, and then if I came back tomorrow, it would remember me unless the customer cleared their cookies.
And I noticed on the Mizzen and Main that after you complete the profile, it complete the quiz, it asks you if you want to save it to the profile. So that's a nice little call to action to save first party data. We all know
Mhm.
how valuable that is just all around.
Yeah. Another example here, suit shop using the API, they call it the fit finder. They go through our questions. You'll see, they actually do add the body shape question here because just in their own opinion, like their shopper, they feel like their shopper should answer that question, but everything else is the same. And then here you can see the body shape. And basically, the end result is giving you a recommendation in that the experts are deliberating. So, um, a slim, is giving you a size recommendation in a sport jacket or a suit jacket and pants at the same time. And then you're able to add those directly to cart. And again, kind of fits into their website, their whole experience just blends right in. And they're owning that front end UX with our API.
I want to go back a second and just replay this part. Look at how much screen real estate you save by showing the pre-populated, because if you haven't taken the quiz, you've got these variants to go through. I'm going to just backtrack one more time. You should just
Mhm.
see this. That's a lot
Yeah.
of real estate and two accordions. So instead, once you've taken that quiz, you just see your pre-populated variants. You can add to cart. And if you're buying multiple suits, this saves a lot of friction.
Yeah. And then this is an example of our virtual tailor API. So this is a custom clother. They actually make custom denim using the body measurements that we provide. So you'll see this experience as you go through. Same types of questions, age, weight, height, shoe size, what your typical pant waist is. They ask for inseam too. How do you want your pants to fit? Because these are custom made, this is a very important question to answer. And then I like this a lot, like depending on how your jeans fit, like they can fit different with different shoes. So they know that and they can actually make them fit with the types of shoes that you're gonna wear. And you're gonna fill this out, you're going to submit and review measurements, and you're not getting a size recommendation in this case. They're actually getting your body measurements, and then they're making a custom pattern of denim for you, and then shipping them your way in a week and a half to 2 weeks. So really cool customer that's been using this API for a few years. They used to have to measure you in person in Oxford, Mississippi to make you some jeans, but now you can just go online and get them made for you wherever you are.
Well, that saves a lot of time being able to do that from home. It kind of reminds me a little bit about the 3-second body visualization too, right? Because even though in general you want to get people through a form quicker, the fact that they are asking this level of detail builds more confidence that like, oh, these tailors are thinking about the
Yeah.
details, they're capturing the details. And it's not always more questions is going to cause more drop off.
Well, and we see that a lot with other custom clothers we work with too. Like consumers will answer more questions if it's being made custom for you because it's custom, right? If it's just you're trying to get a size medium, large, extra large, figure it out, consumers don't want to answer a ton of questions.
Mm-hmm. Every use case needs to be treated in context. All right, so a couple more ideas for you. So I'm just going to play this demo for a second. What Retrofit is doing here, they're actually using an app called Fast Simon. There are a couple other solutions that do this, but basically when a size is out of stock and you click on this visualizer there, see that it's let's back up here. It'll filter visually similar styles that are in stock in the size that is out of stock on the product you're viewing. Now, a couple things that we've learned about fit finding from Bold Metrics is that you can still get away with a size down or a size up, depending on how you like fit. And if you've already had a user take the quiz, you already have their body measurements, you could go back to the product detail page. And one of the areas that is not quite clear here is that most users aren't going to click on an out of stock variant. They're just going to say, oh, it's out of stock. I got to go find something else. So if you
Mhm.
could surface right away a little, a little micro copy here that says your regular size is usually L, but based on what you've told us, you could buy an M in this, and then you could open up that sizer and then see the banding and everything for that extra layer of assurance to be able to save a sale and also save customer disappointment, because if they clicked it, they liked it. So, everyone wins.
Yeah.
The other thing is some review tools allow you to really customize your review submission form. So companies like this are asking users' height, the size that they purchase, their weight, and their body shape. If somebody's filled in this quiz already, you basically have all that. You have their height, their weight. You've been able to forecast and predict what their body type is. And you may or may not know the size that they purchase usually, but this can help surface the most relevant reviews first, because especially
Yeah.
on mobile, this product has 400 plus reviews. So imagine if you could highlight reviews from customers like you, best match reviews. That's going to save a lot of friction. And those are the very reviews that people are looking for in order to make a decision. They don't care
Mhm.
about what Gary, 10 feet taller than them and, bought a
Yeah.
size X small does. They want to know people like them.
Yeah.
And then also with email, so you mentioned, Jeff, with the Sunday Red example, like if you have it saved to a profile, you can use it in all different types of CRM and retargeting and all that kind of stuff, the ongoing customer relationship. And I see this a lot, the size on sale, the merchant sends an email and kind of says, this is nice UX, to be able to just drill into a size. But especially when stuff is a great deal and on clearance and it might fit in a different size, you're not going to filter by that and you're not going to see it. So imagine if you could curate and personalize. These are great deals, and these will fit you regardless of the size. Go directly to, like, just pull them into here based on the API, based on what you know about the user. You
Mhm.
can create some really cool deal personalized emails.
Yep.
All right, so let's get into the power of body data, Jeff.
Yeah. So we always work with e-commerce teams typically to start, but during the process of onboarding, we're typically always talking to the technical design team, the people that design the product, to get a really good understanding on how they approach fit and sizing. What data are we going to be ingesting? We're not, the Bold Metrics platform isn't something that you just turn on tomorrow and we start spitting out sizes. Like, it's tailored to each brand that we work with. And, one of the things that's always been inspiring is the data. It's always been a vision of Bold Metrics. This is how can we, like, give back this data that we're collecting on their customers in a way that's actionable, outside of, like, oh, people are returning this because they say it's big or small, but you can't really do anything with that data if you're a designer. You really need to understand the body measurements of your shoppers to be able to, take action on data. And I think that's really the power of this data outside of e-com, and kind of where we're focused is how do we bring value to the entire organization. And I think that this product helps us go down that path where we're able to provide body measurements at scale of a specific client's shoppers, where they can filter down by region, by individual style level, and really dig into what sizes are being returned the most. Do I need to add a size or break a size into two to better fit my population? And we really see ourselves as a player on this team, like reducing returns in the apparel industry. We can help manage it from a recommendation standpoint, But to really fix the issue, a lot of it's at the root cause of how the product's being designed and the fit and how that changes across different body shapes and how fabrics play into fit and all of that. And this data can really help brands, you know, take some action up front in the process. And that's, we have this new dashboard we call Apparel Insights that's geared to bringing that data to design teams so that there is actions that people can take.
It's a full closed loop.
Yeah, exactly. This is a great example where you can see the purple dots are represent shoppers that are, the chest is on the x-axis and the waist is on the y. Basically shoppers of this brand that are purchasing, and you can see how as you go up in size, they're kind of missing the mark on their customers' bodies, and they're missing a big population past XXL, where you could actually use this data to fix the grading and capture more of that market share out in the extended sizes by breaking that size into two.
That's where you're really going to see health of the business over time is, it's not just about the online merchandising and discounting and customer acquisition. It really has to get into product.
Yep. And it's fun because we bring those two worlds together. Like I've been in meetings where we have e-commerce people and tech design people, and I know both of those people, but they're meeting each other for the first time, especially at large companies. So it's fun, and I think those two worlds, because so much feedback can come from e-com, I think product teams and e-com, are going to work more closely together to fix returns in the future.
And also, so for physical stores and what inventory you send to them. I remember
Yeah,
I used to work in shoes in high school, and we were always trading with stores, even just 20 minutes over the bridge, because it was different demographics, different clientele, different shoe
yeah.
sizes.
Yeah, people dress differently in Texas than they do in New York City. They have different bodies in general, and that data, this data can help you with better store inventory planning by understanding those regional, not only fit preference differences, but actual body differences in the consumers.
Yep, absolutely. All right, well, this wraps it up for today. Thanks everyone for checking with us throughout the whole thing. Jeff, anything else that you want to add?
No, thanks, Linda, for putting this on, and thanks everyone for attending. And, excited. I think it was a great conversation.
Agreed.